Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto's News. It's me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto, here to give you a tour of what's been going on in crypto over the last week. And as usual, a lot, almost every single day. So I've gone ahead and collected some of the most major points to make sure that you stay informed and on top of the major happenings. So welcome back everyone. Remember to hit that like button if you're tuning in. It helps visibility for the show. And remember to subscribe if you're new to the show, and share the show also with someone who also might like to keep up with the main happenings going on in crypto. And I would super appreciate it. Thank you for joining me live. Validator, what's going on? Podhead, much love to you guys. How y'all doing today? Great to have you. So we're going to go ahead and start off because we have quite a bit to get through and I don't want to make this video super long as usual. So let's go ahead and start off by looking at the prices. We have Bitcoin recovering from some of the losses. It started off the month with around April 1st. There was a huge dump. Well, not huge, but it crawled back down to around $64,000, $66,000 range. And now it's up to $67,817. It's up 3% over the last 24 hours, recovering, and down 4.1% over the last 7 days. Ethereum is down a bit more over the last 7 days. It's down 6.7%. And it's pretty much flat over the last 24 hours, up 0.5%. BNB looks like it wants to make some sort of comeback here. Binance coin is up 5.3% over the last 24 hours, and one of the only coins really in the green over the last week. Bitcoin Cash has also continued to perform quite well. That is one of the highest performers over the last week. It's up 10.6%. Overall market cap for crypto is up 2.5% at $2.658 trillion. Bitcoin dominance at 50.2%, and Ethereum at 15%. That's pretty much an overall view of what's going on here. Nothing really remarkable. We're seeing enhanced volatility leading into the halvening for Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and look at a clock down at Bitcoin halvening countdown. Let's see how much we have left. It's barely any time now. What is it? 16 days, 13 hours, and 14 minutes. The halvening for Bitcoin, which will cut the supply, the reward that is issued to miners about every 10 minutes, cut in half. And that will be happening very soon. So some of this volatility is kind of surprising. This is one of the only times, I think it's actually the first time ever, that you see Bitcoin pass an old all-time high prior to the halving. So this is likely driven by a lot of the Bitcoin ETF hype leading into it. And it's something that potentially could continue beyond this. We'll take a look at that in just a minute, guys. Thanks, Sam. I hope you and your family are doing well. I really do appreciate that, Sam. It means a lot. Tether bought 8,888 Bitcoin for $618 million. So Tether now holds about 75,400 Bitcoin. This is following last year's plans, as it says here on newsbtc.com, that they had announced they were going to be regularly purchasing Bitcoin for their stablecoin reserves using part of the profits realized from its operation. So this is likely to drive, it's a way to drive more credibility over to USDT that has countlessly been attacked for being a possible scam, something used to bid up prices and so on, coming under crosshairs, such as with the New York Attorney General, and them basically trying to prove that their stablecoin is more trustworthy by attesting more of what is on their balance sheet, by having a mix of different kinds of assets. And in this case, probably one of the more trusted assets, especially if you've been in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies for some time, which is Bitcoin itself. So I did want to announce that. It is really crazy to me that you see Tether at 75,400 Bitcoin. Then you're talking about the insane amounts we've been covering that MicroStrategy have been acquiring, that you look at sources like Coinbase having, Coinbase custody, when you look at BitGo, when you talk about Grayscale, when you talk about these ETFs, the demand for Bitcoin in huge amounts is really something remarkable. That there are only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist, but such a huge percentage of this is already swallowed up by players, and they're holding on to these really with a strong grip to not let it go. This means less Bitcoin that will be out providing liquidity on the markets and thinner order books on the sell side, very likely that could drive prices much higher, rip higher. I think we're really going to begin to understand as demand grows for these things, just how these prices can balloon more akin to what we've seen in the early years of Bitcoin. I still think there is the potential for some huge multiples to happen here just based on this. As you guys already know, market cap is not exactly how much money is poured into a certain coin. It's simply reflective of the last traded price on a certain exchange, or taking some sort of average across all the exchanges and looking at the last traded price and then trying to basically figure that out with the total supply to get to the market cap, multiplying total supply and the price, last traded price, which doesn't necessarily mean that you need to see trillions of dollars come into Bitcoin to see trillions of dollars worth of market cap for Bitcoin or any of these other cryptocurrencies. And this is something that I think just the average person doesn't really understand as much. But once you do get that, it really this cements in your mind how crazy this could be getting. Hey, thanks guys for joining in. We got 10 viewers now. Pretty awesome, pretty awesome. If you guys would hit that like, I would super appreciate it. It would help a lot. Happy Wednesday, Renee. So close I can taste it. Yeah, pothead. Yeah, I think the next 8 months are going to be quite wild. The rest of this year is going to be wild. That's my suspicion. And this is something also we're hearing from Coinbase. They put out a report. They're expecting a fantastic second quarter. You've seen already big moves happen for coin. So the stock ticker coin, which is Coinbase's stock, it's gone up a lot, especially since some of these ETF providers are custodying those assets at Coinbase, and a lot of other parallels that Coinbase has going for it. But they're going to potentially see, well, they're expecting that there could be higher gains for Bitcoin going into the second quarter. Now, why would this be? Probably the supply side event that's going on with the Bitcoin reward. We're really going to have to wait to see how much that will truly impact things. The quadrennial halving, when miner rewards are slashed by 50%, thereby reducing the rate of growth in Bitcoin supply. But I think more importantly, what's covered here in this article on CoinDesk is this section here talking about wirehouses. On the demand side, said analysts David Duong and David Han, the 90-day review period that many wirehouses employ when conducting due diligence on new financial offerings, like spot Bitcoin ETFs, could conclude as early as April 10th. So you have seen some who are already offering some of these products and already involved with ETFs, but many of these different institutions, wirehouses, have this 90-day period where they kind of wait for an ETF to settle before they allow for the trading. So that's what they're talking about here. So aside from just the Morgan Stanleys, the Bank of Americas, the UBSs, the Goldman Sachs, I mean, those are not the only gatekeepers of wealth, as they say here. Some major U.S. wealth management platforms operate outside of these large financial institutions, and 3 months is a normal observation period for some of these money managers and could yet unlock significant capital for U.S.-based spot Bitcoin ETFs over the medium term. So I definitely think that's something to be looking out for here. April 10th being around that date when this could suddenly be available to more and more clients. That's just 6 days away from me here in central US and Texas. So I think next week could set us up for another leg higher. And I'm hearing that the shorts really are in a no man's land here. It's a very risky play around 69,000. As we looked at, Bitcoin is just south of that. But as we enter that area, it's going to be very risky, especially as we aim to breach $70,000 again and break the all-time high that we recently hit for Bitcoin of $73,000. So I'm in for it. I don't know about you guys. I think I'm ready for the headlines again. It's been a long bear market. It's been a long life in crypto. And I think it would be nice to have a little bit of that euphoric taste again. I don't know that I can feel the euphoria anymore after having gone through it so many times. I feel like it'll probably be more tapered for me each and every time. I remember like the first time I really started investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum. It was like 2016. Then I started the show. I remember just looking at it, and Ethereum was super cheap, like definitely below $20 at the time. And I was like, this is going to go crazy with the halvening blowing up soon for Bitcoin. And I'm going to go look at cars. And I remember going to a dealership and just looking at cars. I'm like, oh, it's going to be easy. I'll be able to afford anything. Oh man, the euphoria, that first time, that first hit of a crypto bull market is unlike anything else, especially like some of the prior ones. But as I mentioned before, there could be that same potential coming up soon for newer entrants as well. This is interesting. So 10% of Bitcoin, 9.5% of the Bitcoin supply, according to Glassnode, has changed hands at prices exceeding $60,000. So it looks at short-term holders and long-term holders, who basically are the ones who hold over 155 days, or the Bitcoin stays in that address for more than 155 days, and those who are shorter than 155 days and move it, those are considered shorter-term hodlers. So we're seeing that the majority of the Bitcoin acquired above $60,000 belongs to short-term hodlers. So likely new entrants who entered more recently. Although there are notable holdings by long-term holders who seem to have been entering the market around the 2021 bull run. So a little bit of a thing there. More and more people are becoming profitable from holding Bitcoin. And this does, I think, reflect the fact that you have these long-term holders who bought over $60,000. That means that they've been holding on for a very long time, waiting to see some green. And they've really believed in their investment or didn't want to take a loss on it, which to me just says that they're not very emotional as well, these longer term hodlers. Because if you're emotional, you panic after the 2021 bull run, you sell simply. If you're still holding right now, you're finally seeing green. Probably some of your thesis is coming true here. And I think that is something that will reflect more positively when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency's reputation as well. And there's another shot at our buddy Peter Schiff, who just, it's baffling how he just feels like Bitcoin is always going to go down to zero or something like it. But it's getting harder and harder for him to find believers and to have any credibility with that statement anymore. So that's what's up. Props to people who are finally in the green. Let me know if you guys have only been holding since 2021. I know that most of you guys watching this show, hey Sean, hey Frank, Frankenberry Clem, many of you guys have been watching for a long time, so you've probably been involved since before 2021. But if you've been here after that, I would love to know how you're feeling about all this situation. What led you to hold on despite all of that? If it was like your first bull run, I'd be fascinated to know your comments down below. So crypto bull run ignites surge in job listings, salary increases. So I saw this and I thought, wow, like what a bull market title. But it goes on to talk about this in a bit more detail. So this was from founder of Crypto Jobs List, Raman Shalupal. He said that there has been a 20 to 30% growth month over month for the number of active companies that are posting for jobs for crypto jobs. A lot of these are project manager jobs, engineering jobs. Engineering jobs are paying more than they were back in 2022. So back in 2022, they were paying $137,000 average salary for a crypto engineer, $135,000 in 2023. So a bit of a drop off. Granted, that was before like the bull market, right? And now we're seeing average engineering roles at $168,000, climbing salaries, climbing jobs. That is a sign that these companies, especially those who survived the bear market, are ready to expand. What it talks about here is that we're not seeing job postings from new companies. So we're not seeing like the hanger-ons. Oh, now's the time to start a crypto company. Now's the time to start a fund. Now's the time to start a crypto wallet. We haven't really gotten into that phase where you're seeing new entities springing up with jobs. This is primarily coming from a lot of the exchange. You're talking about KuCoin. You're talking about Coinbase, Kraken, Binance. Over 1,000 jobs are currently open across the industry's most prominent players. So if you're looking for a job in crypto and you've been waiting, now does seem like the time before more and more people start trying to sign up for these jobs. And more of those jobs that are available are from shady companies, if you get my drift. So we are waiting for some employment data in the United States to come out tomorrow. A lot of what's driven the market higher has been expectations for interest rates being cut here by the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve has been saying, well, recently we've heard this week that they're going to want to see inflation actually come down really for real before we can expect interest rate cuts. So there are some who are expecting interest rates to be cut as early as next month in May, but most likely most players last I had seen expected it in June. Now after some of these recent comments from Jerome Powell, I think it could be pushed back even further than that. This is very likely what drove the Bitcoin price down, and that was the same for all sorts of these risk assets. You saw stock prices come down this week as well. But I think Bitcoin just reacts, like cryptocurrency just reacts initially to this stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The dollar's getting inflated at an ever faster and faster pace. It's just a matter of time to me, as I've said before. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But interest rates will likely have to come down no matter what. And still, most open market committee members of the Federal Reserve who vote on these interest rates expect them to come down, as we had looked at the dot plot, by the end of the year. So, I mean, that would just be another leg up if Bitcoin is still at a bull run at that time. All we need right now is a halvening, bro. We got ETFs, we got halvening, we got wirehouses coming up. We don't need your stinking rate cuts. They'd be fine, but it's not like they're raising rates anymore. They're just paused. So I think it's kind of a nothing burger, but that is partly what drives the market. But the volatility has not been crazy. We haven't seen a 33% drawdown, 37% drawdown like in prior bull markets. So that is certainly still in the cards. I'll never say that it won't be, because that's how we jinx it, right? FTX founder. Oh yeah, so we did not get to do a video to update this situation, Sam Bankman-Fried and his sentencing, which we had talked about in the last video. Since that video, actually the day after that video, Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years for all kinds of fraud, $11 billion in forfeiture. Like, if he has $11 billion to forfeit, I have to feel like this guy probably has like at least $2 billion hidden in some sort of other hardware wallet somewhere that he snuck away. But I digress. It doesn't matter, because we can get so many things in life, right? But not time, as they say. You can't necessarily buy time. And sadly, all of his political donations to both sides of the parties did not work out very well. I guess it did relative to getting over 100 years, which was the max possible he could have gotten for his crimes, or the 50 years that prosecutors are trying to go for. But it is better than the 5 to 6 years that the defense attorneys had wanted for Sam Bankman-Fried. He's going to be facing 25 years for all of his involvement. The judge, Lewis Kaplan, said there's a risk that this man will be in a position to do something very bad in the future. And it's not a trivial risk at all, citing primarily that he had never heard from Sam Bankman-Fried a word of remorse for the commission of terrible crimes. He had ordered all sorts of things to happen to cover up for insolvencies, blamed it on mismanagement, not outright fraud, blamed it on everything, the market, but himself. So it's going to be something he's going to be fighting as well. His parents are really upset. They're like down here. They're both professors at Stanford. They're both Stanford law professors, it says here. So they're going to be trying to fight this as well. We are heartbroken, and we will continue to fight for our son. It's funny, right? Because one of them, I believe the mother, is an ethics professor, and he did like the exact opposite of ethics. He got quite power hungry. They tried to downplay it, make it seem like, you know, he has a terrific sadness at his core. His mother had said, a constant presence in his life. He once wrote in his journal that he doesn't feel pleasure or happiness. Sam was not a ruthless financial serial killer who set out every morning to hurt people. He's an awkward math nerd with a tireless work ethic, said a lawyer, who also compared the FTX founder to a beautiful puzzle to be figured out. I guess it didn't work out. I mean, it's such a weird defense as well. It's like they tried to play, of course, mental, I don't even know, mental illness, mental status at this, but it did not work out very well. Caroline Ellison was the CEO of Alameda Research, which was previously headed up by Sam Bankman-Fried himself, but he said, nah, I'm going to step away and just let you do that, Caroline, the research firm, your fund, while I go and build out FTX, this product to I can't even imagine what he thought. I imagine he probably had the idea that he could succeed really well, like for real, but he leveraged like crazy, used funds from FTX to buy stuff on Alameda Research. And it turns out he ran Alameda Research basically by himself at the whole time. She was just there almost as a lackey. And you can see that. I mean, they talk about this. I don't know if I have it on this article. Talks about the amount of money. Oh, yeah. So despite her leadership role, Caroline Ellison, court documents review Ellison's compensation lagged behind other FTX executives. While the exchange distributed $3.2 billion amongst its founders and senior employees, Ellison received only $6 million. So think about that. It's insane. You have Nishad Singh receiving $587 million, the head of engineering. All right. Co-founder Gary Wang got $246 million, and Sam Bankman-Fried took home a staggering $2.2 billion. She only got $6 million. That is absolutely wild to me. She did have diary entries through a lot of this. She had tweeted about amphetamine use, which is it's wild. So nothing, it's just so rude, right? She had tweeted this on April 5th, 2021. We had covered it in the show before. Nothing like regular amphetamine use to make you appreciate how dumb a lot of normal, non-medicated human experience is. I'm surprised she didn't delete that tweet, but it was probably too late. And now she's like been talking out against Sam Bankman-Fried. She confessed to crimes, to wire fraud, and it's just the whole time they were doing methamphetamine, basically, or not methamphetamine, amphetamines, probably Adderall and whatever else, and just feeling on top of the world. Everybody's so stupid, but they might be facing prison time. We still don't know exactly what her sentencing is going to be, which is this article is all about. That's still up in the air. It's expected to be a lot more lenient toward her for speaking out against FTX. And it just does not look great for Sam himself. Like, there's this small group chat here where Caroline Ellison on November 8th, 2022 said, multiple people internally asking me whether they should continue to make statements to external parties like Alameda is solvent. Should I suggest they stall instead? Just stall in responding to their messages, or what? She was like, I feel like maybe they're lying and this is being fraudulent. Should we say something else instead? And we heard from Sam Bankman-Fried in his response, and maybe something about there being a future of some sort for those who are excited, but that you can't know for sure what it is. Like, we might be screwed, but there might be some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. Caroline Ellison said, what do you think that future would be? Like, what, you want me to kind of lie, or is it do you have something in mind? Anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens to Caroline and Gary and the others, but at least for Sam, it looks like he will be serving time further here. What's up, guys? We're up to 19 viewers. Thank you guys so much. Remember to hit that like. I know I'm going to say it again, but really trying to grow the channel with your help, and it means a lot. So continuing on here, and I know this video is getting longer as well, and so I'm going to try to just breeze through as much of this as possible. You can now go on Google, and just like you could with ENS addresses, Ethereum name service addresses, and like you could with Ethereum before that, you can put in an address for either Bitcoin, Phantom, Arbitrum, and a few others like Optimism, Avalanche. So these are layer 2 networks, Polygon. You can go and put that in Google, and it will show you the timestamp of the last transaction, although they said that it's not immediate, and it'll show you the native token balance for each network. So more integration, I guess you could say, between Google and these blockchains, making it easier for some individuals to not use a block explorer and have to rely on that. FTX estate is selling $7.5 billion worth of Solana. So let's take a look. What was the market cap? The market cap for Solana was, I mean, that's a lot, right? We're talking huge sums of money. So right now the market cap is 81 billion. So that's quite a share of that amount. And it's been attracting a lot of attention. For example, you have Neptune Digital, which announced that they were acquiring 26,964 Solana tokens at $64 per token. Out of the tokens, 20% will be unlocked in May 2025. So in about a year, they're going to get 20% of that. And the rest will unlock monthly until 2028. So you have to talk about things that are going to be putting downward pressure on a token. And I would say this is something that's not great for the outlook, I would say, for the prices, since you're going to have that frequent selling month after month come next year, at least from this entity. And there will be other entities as well. But take a look at this. They bought these tokens at $64 per token when the prices right now are $182 per token. So they got a massive discount. The discount was 67%, basically, relative to the market value of the time. And what is the other bit here? Yeah. There was something else here, but I can't recall what it was. Anyway, yeah, just something to look out for. It's not going to be the only entity, as I mentioned here, Neptune, but there will be others as well. And oh yeah, that basically during the filing where they were trying to sell tokens, they were trying to stop them from selling it at the current market price, which is much, much higher since the price has ballooned quite a lot, 600% since the Chapter 11 bankruptcy was initially filed in November 22. The price of SOL was only around $24. So I guess they're not going for $24 per SOL. They're going much. This is going to be more of a killing than that, basically. Call of Duty players have their Bitcoin swiped thanks to malware. So this is not just Call of Duty. Basically, if you were using cheat software for different platforms like Activision Blizzard's Battle.net, the PC platform for games that include World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch. If you basically try to download some of this cheat software, then you could have been affected. There were a lot of affected accounts, 4.9 million accounts, 3.7 million of which were Battle.net accounts, 560,000 Activision accounts, and 117,000 Elite PvPers accounts. And this software was pointed at Electrum Bitcoin wallet software that was in your computer and was draining Bitcoin out of those wallets. So always a caution to be careful what you install, double check addresses, don't download stuff that you're not sure of, and be very scrupulous when it comes to what you install on a computer if you have some sort of crypto wallet on there. And we don't know the extent exactly, according to VX Underground, of who reported this, of what the damages were, but it does seem to be quite vast. A bit of a heads up on that. Google, this is a first that we're seeing. They're suing crypto scammers for uploading fake apps to the Android App Store. So this is a group that has been defrauding more than 100,000 people globally by uploading fake crypto wallet and other kinds of software to Google's Play Store. And they lied about their own infrastructure. They lied about what computers they were using. They lied about geolocation in order to get these applications passed. Many people would download them, and then it would say, okay, deposit money here. You have to reach a certain minimum balance before you can withdraw. When they deposited that minimum balance, oftentimes the apps just went offline. They disappeared from the App Store, complete rug pulls, or they would say that you needed, to deposit for gas fees, whatever. Just keep taking money out of people's wallets. Announce that they have to pay a fee for withdrawals. All sorts of bad actors. One app highlighted was Tyon RT. Hopefully none of you guys have downloaded that. It had claimed to be a crypto exchange, and frequently these apps would post to different newswire press releases sites so that they seemed legitimate. They lured victims into downloading the app through social media platforms, text messages, and elsewhere, and managed to just get so much by way of this. Google themselves claim that they're suffering damages in excess of $75,000 by incurring expenses to investigate the breach and on safety and integrity resources. They're seeking a permanent injunction against the defendants for general damages and to prevent them and their employees from creating Google accounts and accessing Google services. Google is like such an integral part of so many people's lives, and maybe even them themselves, since they were using it. I can't imagine how that would impact them. But yeah, they impacted people probably much more than that. Like there was talking about impacting, just really quickly to jump back to this that I had meant to mention. Like you have these people who become victims of crypto and then they hate crypto and they foul out. They cry foul against it. This was some of the harm that Bankman-Fried had caused that was talked about in regards to a veteran. He said, Sam, I think it's safe for me to assume that few, if anyone, was more adversely and devastatingly crushed by this news than was I. All of the money that I had to my name, $1,600, was in FTX. I was storing it on the exchange because I felt it was secure. It's too easy to have cash stolen when you're homeless like I am. I thought it would be more secure on FTX. I thought wrong, it appears. This money was to help me get off the streets and secure a job in a house. Now, with no way to buy clothes and no way to rent a room to clean up, I will miss my interview tomorrow. I'm stuck living in a car with no gas, no food, no jacket, and not a dime to my name. That's where this has left me. I am now at the point that I see no reason to continue trying to survive, as this was the final straw. I'm a 58-year-old U.S. military veteran, and this is the thanks I get for all the sacrifices I gave. I'm giving up, sir. If I don't have my money back before morning, I'm going to enter the self-checkout line. That's all that's left for me to do. I will not spend another winter living in my car. I forgive you, Sam, and wish you the best. I hope it all works out for you. But as for me, I'm just not able to absorb or tolerate a setback like this. I'm too old and too tired. Good luck, sir. That's so sad, man. These scammers. So it's good to see Google now going out against some of these scammers. I mean, this is a little bit of an aside from FTX. Like, that was supposed to be a legitimate exchange, but you get the idea. People can be hurt because of fraud and oftentimes take their life and affect them greatly. And it's really terrible to see. So good on Google to take some sort of litigation against this. And oftentimes you saw like these scammers that were promoting these ads. Those were the ones who were making these ads that you see when you go to crypto YouTube and you see Michael Saylor pretending to offer you double the amount of Bitcoin if you deposit to a certain address, or to download this or go to that website. They were using some of these YouTube advertisements to get their promotion. Maybe we'll see less of them. I don't know. So Brian Armstrong announced that they're working with Lightspark. Brian Armstrong is the CEO of Coinbase, if you don't know, into integrating the Lightning Network. So the Lightning Network is like a layer 2 for Bitcoin. It enables you to basically move Bitcoin into that layer, pay the fee when you move into that layer, transact infinitely really in that layer as much as you can, very low fees, really quick payments through others who are also using this layer 2 Lightning Network, routing payments through different nodes in order to get them to not happen on the main chain. Now when you're ready to withdraw that Bitcoin, then you pay another transaction fee on the way out. So one on the way in, one on the way out, and transactions way quicker and cheaper in the meantime. Adoption for Lightning Network, I would say, has been slow, but it's been steadily like upward. It's had flatlining periods, but seeing it integrated potentially into Coinbase coming up very soon, I think is going to be huge. They're going to be using Lightspark, as I mentioned. They said, thrilled to announce, according to David Marcus, wasn't he? Yeah, he was the head of payments and crypto at Facebook Messenger and Meta. He had led PayPal. He has worked with Coinbase. He's done a lot in this space. Thrilled to announce that Coinbase has selected Lightspark to enable the Bitcoin Lightning Network across its platform and services. Yet another milestone for Lightning. Too many millions of new people in 100 plus countries coming soon. So this was basically seen as the way to keep Bitcoin as an electronic peer-to-peer cash system, not a peer-to-peer gold system. This would be something that could enable more transactions, more people to use Bitcoin for payments and at merchants across the world, more adoption in that sort of way. Just something, a huge boon for that. And I think it makes sense. You're looking at the average transaction on the Bitcoin Lightning Network to be about just north of $11, which is smaller, I would say, than the average Bitcoin transaction. If you're going to pay such a huge fee to the network, then you should probably wait to send more Bitcoin at a time rather than smaller amounts like $11. So I think this is quite good to see. It's the direction that Bitcoin has gone in, and so to see that option available to more people, I think is nice, and headed up by one of the most visible companies and good custodians, I would say, in this space. Although I know some people do get issues with getting locked out of their accounts on Coinbase. Like I had read a story about one dude who had moved funds from Celsius after with the bankruptcy to Coinbase, and Coinbase immediately had locked their account pending verification, and they got stuck in like an automated system loop for a whole month. And Coinbase, I think it was one time I had to reach out to support only, and I did so via messaging, and it was like immediately. Like I had the issue resolved within like an hour. And they also have a phone number. I believe they still do that you can call, one of the only crypto companies to allow that. So I do think they're doing their best, and I don't know. There's got to be ways to reach them as well, tagging them on Twitter. Usually they are quite good at responding, but it does get more difficult in a bull market when more and more people are sending support tickets. So for some, I would definitely advise like patience. But yeah, just a heads up on that. Ripple to launch US dollar stablecoin aims to compete with Tether and Circle's USDC. So Ripple, again, one of the more visible companies in this space with the XRP token. They were trying to allow for XRP to, well, this was like what everyone said, to replace SWIFT, to allow interbank payments to happen really quickly, international payments happen really quickly, and at a cheap cost. It will be adopted. It looks like they're trying to find a new venue here for peer-to-peer payments, and these would be through the launch of a stable coin that they hope to have ready in the next 5 years. This is the first that I hear of it. That's why I'm sharing it with you. They're saying basically if the market grows by 5 times and we're the number 3 stablecoin in the space, even if we're the only number 3, that's a huge market share. They're trying to take market share in this space. And there's some pushback against it. I thought XRP was going to be like the token. And they said in some cases, with some entities, XRP cannot be that token. So they want to allow for multiple paths to give customers a better experience, meaning that you have more customers. Schwartz had said, the head, I believe he's a CTO of Ripple, could be wrong there. If we only did things with XRP, then where XRP wasn't available, we would just have to tell a customer no. So there's definitely a huge stablecoin market, and it's still early days. I could see something else coming out and being like the number one. For example, with Tether, they were not trusted for a very long time. I think they've gained back some of their trust, and they haven't been knocked down really, and they're still probably one of the more used stablecoins out there, longest one that's been around in this market. And yeah, it's going to be pegged 1-for-1 with the US dollar. No surprise there, the Ripple stablecoin. And it's very similar to what we're seeing with Tether. It's going to be backed by US dollar deposits, short-term US government treasuries, and other cash equivalents. Why don't we put in some Bitcoin in there as well? We should probably put some Bitcoin if Tether's doing it, because I'm actually more inclined to trust Tether here. If not for maybe the case that they're going to be doing monthly attestations of these deposits. They're going to be like a super compliant coin here. They're going to be audited by a third-party accounting firm. So we will see. It does sound like they're trying to set it up to be one of the more reputable coins out there when it launches in the next 5 years. Within the next 5 years, actually, it's like an eternity in crypto, right? It's 2024. When did Bitcoin launch? 2009? What is it, 15 years? Oh, 15 years. That's like a third of Bitcoin's life. A lot happens in the crypto space in that. So we will see if Ripple does prove successful with this new stablecoin venture. One venture that has taken a hit, I guess you could say, but it has not been defeated completely, is Bitcoin ordinals. So Binance has announced that they're ending support for Bitcoin ordinals. Bitcoin ordinals have been available for just about a year. May of last year, 2023, Binance announced that they were going to be supporting that, which in a nutshell are Bitcoin NFTs. They enable users to inscript digital content like art, text, video directly onto the Bitcoin blockchain. It has caused issues in the past with the network becoming congestion because of their popularity. But anyway, Binance has announced that their NFT marketplace will cease to offer airdrops, benefits, and utilities related to Bitcoin NFTs after April 10th, 2024. It seems to me like Binance is being dismantled piece by piece. The powers that be do not want Binance to exist anymore. Maybe this was an arm that was not profitable for them or for some other reason. I can't imagine they would just hate Bitcoin or like that's kind of a reach there. But just wanted to give you a heads up there. If you do have Bitcoin ordinals on Binance, get those out of there before the deadline on April 10th, 2024 would be my bit of advice. Anyway, what's going on here with the chat, guys? Oh, shoot, you guys been talking a lot. I got to check that out. Thank you, guys. It does help the show as well when you engage with the chat and leave comments. And as always, do leave a like if you enjoyed the video. That's pretty much the show that I got for you guys. Some of the main things going on here. Seeing that volatility before the halvening, I think it's going to become clear. I think tomorrow we could see a little downside, probably just erasing any gains that happened today based on that jobs data. And then after that, I think this Wirehouses thing coming up that I had talked about earlier in the video on April 10th, where you could see the ETFs available in more and more venues, could be providing a new leg up here. And then the decimation of shorts around the $70,000 level. So I don't know, guys. Are you guys ready for $80,000 Bitcoin? My soul, I don't know if I'm ready. That sounds like such a huge number to me, but it looks like we're going to be ready for it soon. Anyway, I wish you guys so much love for you, your families, your friends, and thank you so very much for your continued support of the show. I will leave you with a quote of the day. And hopefully you think about crypto versus fiat currencies as they've existed, and maybe their time is coming to an end as we go through this quote by Alfred Whitney Griswold. The only sure weapon against bad ideas is better ideas. Take care, guys. Much love and stay cryptic. Peace.